Horse owners unite to support Bob Baffert. Welcome to All Horse Racing All the Time. I'm your host, Al. The latest Bob Baffert news: owners uniting to support Rally Behind Bob. As many of you know, Bob Baffert, CDI, extended his Kentucky Derby suspension into this year, 2024. So Bob, right now, ineligible for the Kentucky Derby of this year. The suspension might be ongoing. They might continue the suspension, and we don't know. What we do know is Bob has dropped his appeal regarding Medina Spirit being disqualified from the victory in the Kentucky Derby. But these owners now, we have owners of 18 Kentucky Derby hopefuls who went for nominations for the Triple Crown races, the Kentucky Derby. And Bob, what are they going to do? They had until January 29th, Monday, to shift their horses, shift barns to another trainer other than Bob Baffert. Otherwise, they wouldn't be allowed to compete in the Kentucky Derby. But then again, Bob Baffert's not going to be there. And a lot of fans, Baffert fans, feel, what's the Kentucky Derby without Bob Baffert? It's like peanut butter without jelly, pizza without pepperoni, Sonny without Cher. Well, Sonny and Cher did split up, but let's face it, neither of them, they both have their entire careers to thank for each other, Sonny and Cher. Without them together in the first place, who knows how they would have ended up. That's how they made their fame. And that's the thing with Bob. Bob's recognized at the Kentucky Derby, the hair, the sunglasses, the tailored suits, comes with all the aplomb. Fans love seeing him there, and he's not going to be there this year. But now he had 18 Kentucky Derby hopeful horses in training. Okay, so he had 18 of them, numerous owners nominated for the Triple Crown races. And what happened? The owners of these horses rallied behind Bob. They had until the 29th, Monday, to transfer those horses to a different trainer, a barn. Otherwise, they wouldn't qualify. They wouldn't be allowed into the Kentucky Derby, right? So what did these trainers do? In previous years, they shifted the horses, some of them over to Yankton, for example, different trainers. Otherwise, they wouldn't qualify for the Derby. But not this year. All 18 of those Kentucky Derby hopefuls, none of them transferred their horses to other barns. That's right. They kept their horses with Bob. They're like, Kentucky Derby or Bob? Now, think about the Kentucky Derby. What's that worth, right? How many times now these Kentucky Derby hopefuls, they only have one shot to be a three-year-old and qualify for the Derby. This is their one shot, these 18 hopefuls. And the owners were like, you know what? We're keeping the horses with Bob. We'll bypass the Derby this year. We're going to show our solidity for this great Hall of Fame trainer. They refuse to move. And we got some quotes here to talk about regarding these trainers. Now, some of these trainers, for example, we had Amar Zidane, SF Racing and its partners, Edward Alred and Jack LeBeau. Some quotes. Zidane says, "We're not moving. We have our full trust in our trainer. Everything he has done has been in the best interests of our horses. He's our man." Think about that. A shot for a triple crown, a Derby. He's our man. Some other quotes. There's more from Zidane. Would we love to run in the Derby? Absolutely yes. Would we love to run, especially this being the 150th Kentucky Derby? Absolutely yes. Are we hoping to run in the Derby? Absolutely yes. Do we think we will be there? It's in God's hands. And he says, horses have a routine and an environment, and we wouldn't want to disrupt their routine and move them from one stable to another. It's not good for the horse. Right. The horses don't like being jerked around. They're used to seeing somebody in the morning there, looking in on them. They get to know them, that there's a relationship. There's a bond there. They don't want to be jerked around. Suddenly they got some stranger over there, handle them. The horse is like, what's up with this? And Zidane goes on, if you focus on the well-being of the horse, you have results. And then Tom Ryan is another, the racing manager of SF Racing. And he's, along with his partners, won the Preakness with National Treasure. And he confirmed that Baffert keep the horses. He goes, we'll let our actions do the talking. Actions meaning no action. Ryan says, keeping it with Bob Baffert. So 18 hopefuls, they all stay with Bob. He tells a story. It's interesting. I have a funny feeling Bob is going to be back in the Derby next year with the since he dropped the appeal of Medina Spirit. And what do I think? What do I think about these owners standing behind Bob here? The rallying cry: we're not moving our horses. We're keeping them with Bob. And hey, we'll still be eligible to run in the Preakness and in the Belmont Stakes, which will be running at Saratoga this year, by the way, at 1.25 miles. Should be a historic day there at Saratoga. But they're keeping them there, the Preakness and the Derby. What do I think? Well, I think it's a good move for the horses, right? Because the horses probably don't like being moved around. They're familiar with their surroundings, especially with top-notch operation that Bob runs. Gets the best care over there, and they see him they see him and his staff, and so yeah, the horse is more comfortable that way. Stays where it's comfortable. And I'm just wondering if I want to play devil's advocate here about the owners not shifting horses. Is there another reason why they're not shifting horses? Now I'm going to reach into it. From what I've seen of the Kentucky Derby hopefuls so far, right now, I think Bob's, out of his hopefuls, his 18 hopefuls, I see other horses out there that look better to date. Pletcher has some in training and that have run some big numbers. So Bob, I think, would have been a bit of a long shot with these hopefuls that are available. Maybe they're better off. He's like, you know what? Now's the time to take a stand. We don't want to send the owners to thinking now we don't want to take a stand. We don't want to send our horse out there and get crushed in the Kentucky Derby. Well, we'll see how that goes. And we still have the Preakness and the Belmont Stakes available to run there. So what if we don't get in there? We're not going to win anyway. Let's show our support for Bob. Devil's advocate. Do you think that's why they're doing it? What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on this? Leave your comments in the comment area down below. And stay tuned if there's any other new news going forward with Bob in the Kentucky Derby. But as of right now, I think it's safe to say he's going to miss this year's Kentucky Derby, and look ahead to next year, hopefully having that suspension lifted. Thanks for watching, everybody.